Today, John repairs the transmission tunnel and welds in the leaf spring mount.
So I've got the floor panel just temporarily laid in here, and you see it fits really well. And again, if you look at the EOP, edge of part of the floor panel, you see that it is cut very accurately to go around these stiffening beads here, around this one, and it comes through here. So in this case, this side of the tunnel needs to be pushed in. So I'll just keep this in place while I, weld stuff. But you can also see that the tunnel is supposed to come across, like you see this black edge here. So this area here needs to come out towards me, to the side of the car, driver's side of the car. So I'll have to do some forming on that, so to speak, to get that to be a better match. There is a bead here that's not in the panel, or a bump, a bulge that's not in the panel. So I don't know, we'll have to see, but I'm pretty sure that edge is supposed to be closer to this black edge, and certainly this area here can come out almost a ½ inch. So I'm gonna need to start preparing that. I have to noodle that one for a little bit, but we'll get it. But that's an example of using the floor panel to help you figure out, what's going on with your surrounding geometry. Well, that went well. All I did was give it one good bang right here, and the whole thing shifted this way, that ½ inch. Look at the difference here and the difference there. It went from like almost 3/4 of an inch gap, maybe a ½ inch gap, to now a quarter, 1/8 to a quarter along here. So that makes me happy. I thought I was gonna have to be cutting and banging and ay. So that's much better. That's acceptable. That's enough overlap on these flanges to puddle weld the floor panel to the flange on the tunnel. So we are good to go. So all I'm gonna do is kind of bang this area, get this a little more flush here. There's too much deviation here, but this is nice down here. Once I get this banged out and looking good, I'll weld this and then put in that missing patch right there. And then the tunnel should be good. At that point, I will weld the tunnel to the cross member that's going through here, and that will hold it in place. All right, so I got a piece to go in here. It's gonna take a little fidgeting to get it in there, right? Because it's kind of bulging here, but yet it's flat here. One of those things again, but we'll get it in.
Let's install that missing passenger side leaf spring mount.
Alright, so here's one on my checklist of stuff to do, is to get this other leaf spring mount on here. So I got it temporarily in there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get a metal rod and slip it through those holes and make sure that we're lined up this way. And we should be lined up in this plane just because of all the structure that is touching. So that's really the only alignment that could be goofy. Let me get that rod and see what's going on. All right, so here's that rod I was talking about. It's just I don't know what I got, a 4-foot threaded rod. And I'm going through the bracket here, running it up into the bracket that I'm installing. So I'm just going to be checking to see if I'm holding, like a distance here. I haven't done that yet, but that's what I'm going to be doing, is just making sure this is lined up with the one underneath, and that it's also lined up to the here. So This is where the other end of the leaf spring is, so you follow that across and hopefully it hits right here. So that's what I'll be doing next. Yeah, that's it. Okay, I've got it clamped in and fitted in pretty good. That I'm checking distances like this one against the one on the other side to make sure it works. I'm looking at this pole and it's good. Everything's parallel, etc. So everything's good. So what I've done is I've traced a couple of keyholes and I've traced the periphery. So when I take this all apart, I want to drill a couple more holes in it. I want to put some in this flange right here. That's probably about it. There's too much of a gap between this plane and the mating one on the other side. So not going to put holes in that. But I've got enough to register and put it back in place, and then I'll start plug welding. All right, gang, got two hands talking at you. So I've got this leaf spring bracket clamped in place. I've coated all mating surfaces with weld-through primer. I've registered it back and clamped it in where I had it. But I just want to reiterate what I've been hammering on everybody is how important this region is from a load standpoint. Because all those loads from the suspension system are coming through this bracket, but then coming through all the surrounding structure. So notice that it gets plug welded to this heel plate here and here. And then it also gets plug welded to the rear member through this flange. And then you can't see the holes, but there's some back here where it gets mounted to this entire rear deck that's coming down here. So again, going back to where I said, you got to have this flange and those flanges that had rotted out. They've all got to be in there in the right position to angle everything correctly, because it all comes together through this mount.
We'll catch you guys in the next video. As always, thanks for watching.